Hello, and welcome to the Simply Business Interview Podcast, a podcast created by business owners for business owners. I am your host, John Jennings. And I believe that most business owners are working way too hard for much too little. And one of our issues is that we overcomplexify things. I believe the answers are almost always within us or within our reach. I like to say that I'm a simple man with simple ideas. So welcome to Simply Business. All right, today we are joined by Doug Gardner, who is the owner of Citywide Facility Solutions of Louisville. He's owned this business for over a decade, I believe. Looking forward to hearing more about his story. Doug, let's just start. Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do at Citywide.
Okay. Well, again, my name is Doug Gardner. I'm the president and owner of Citywide Facility Solutions of Louisville. We are now in our, 14th year here in Louisville. But a little bit about my background. I grew up in central Kentucky, bourbon country. Spent my 4 years in college at Bellarmine. I'm an undergrad there. You can see my Knights flag in the background here.
Yeah, go Knights. So am I.
Awesome. Then spent about 3.5 years in New York City before coming back home in a few different industries, wholesaling annuities to stockbrokers, financial planners back in the day, medical sales, pharmaceutical sales, and was always looking for something to kind of do on my own. Finished my MBA at U of L around 2010. I knew then I wanted to kind of do something on my own, and lo and behold, I found Citywide and expanded them into Louisville back in 2013. And so far, so good, going strong.
Yeah, awesome. So tell us a little bit about what Citywide does in particular. And I know there's just a wide variety of services you provide. So educate us on that.
Yeah, I think there's a misperception that we're a cleaning company. Yes, that's one thing we do, commercial janitorial, but we're fairly unique. Our business model is such that we basically can handle anything of a general nature from roof to curb. We are heavily into the commercial janitorial space, but we are a facility maintenance management company. So think of it this way. We act as really an assistant facility manager. If we go into a manufacturing facility and you have a VP of ops who's juggling, 10, 12 vendors, all these invoices, that's where we kind of can come in and help. And if we can help consolidate, and at the end of the day, we're looking to save time and solve problems. But from a general service standpoint, we can handle anything from janitorial to landscaping to window washing to pressure washing, floor care, and the list goes on, which is one of the reasons I love the business model.
Yeah. And that you're in, I know in my industry, I talk to a lot of business owners, and there's AI proof industries, and there's others that are a lot more concerned about AI, and you're in sort of an AI proof industry. I mean, there's I guess robots someday might do some of the stuff, but that's still a ways off. Probably, you'll probably make it through retirement and sell the business before they really make an impact.
Yeah, there's some of that going on with the AI generated robots that you see, like with floor machines. The thing about it is, yes, you can have a robot clean a floor, but you still have to have a human that programs it, that cleans it, et cetera. So we're somewhat insulated from that world, but I can see, here and there pockets of where, AI comes into play.
Yeah. So 14 years ago, you decided you wanted to do something on your own. That resonates with me. 8 years ago, I was the same way. And we went different routes, but we went some similar routes too, because we both decided to kind of go the franchise route. Not because it's ready made. I think that's a misconception, but just because there's so much you can learn from a franchise. So how did you discover Citywide as a franchise, and what was it that made you go, yeah, this is the group I want to work with?
Yeah, when I was finishing up my MBA at U of L, there was a gentleman that I knew here in town who was a franchise broker, and I kind of really told myself, I can kind of go one of three routes. I can, start my own company, product, service. I can, go buy a small company, product, service, if I wanted to kind of do my own thing. My third option in my mind was a franchise. If I could find a franchise that kind of hit certain marks that I was looking for, very recession resistant, been around for a long time, had proven itself in a market similar to Louisville, recurring revenue. So there's a few things I was looking for.
Yeah.
And we kind of sat down over 3 or 4 different conversations, kind of looked at my background, and he brought me 3 concepts. Citywide was one of those, and not one that I'd heard of. Family owned business out of Kansas City. They had never been in Louisville, but they'd been in this region for many years, Indianapolis and Cincinnati, Nashville, et cetera. The business model intrigued me, as I've already mentioned, the ability to handle multiple services, the recurring revenue model, very asset light business model. So it just made a lot of sense. If I put myself at the time in a facility manager's shoes, and if I'm juggling all these things, and if I can have a company come in and stay within my budget and still help me save time, where I can kind of focus on the other things in my business, it seemed like a no-brainer at the time. So anyway, I kind of wanted to do a 180 anyway. I wanted to get away from medical. And so I did. I got away from the medical industry and went into kind of the facility maintenance, the janitorial, again, the general service industry. And it's been received well. As with anything new, it takes time to kind of get it off the ground, but
Mm.
real happy with my choice.
Yeah. So you mentioned getting off the ground. Let's talk about that. What were those early years like? I always tell people of, first 18 months of a business owner is drinking from the fire hose and discovering issues and problems and challenges that you never imagined before that 18 months. But what do you, when you look back, what are some of your memories from that?
Well, I remember I worked a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, it was probably 18, 20-hour days sometimes. When you go into business on your own, you hear people say that they want to go into business and then they get into the business and it's like, I didn't realize what I didn't realize at the time.
Yeah.
So kind of the same thing. You kind of become, you're the sales guy, you're the ops guy, you're the accountant, you are the CPA. So you're doing everything. And
Yeah.
so I was doing that. Heck, even the cleaner, like I said, I would go out at night and help the crews clean at night if we needed some help. Just again, things you have to do when you start a business that
Right.
maybe aren't the most fun things, but you have to look long term and have the big picture in mind of where you want to be down the road. And you can't be afraid to kind of roll up your sleeves and get your hands dirty.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of stress early on. And not that it's, any less stressful now. It's just I have a team that I have in
Yeah.
place that can kind of do the day to day and handle those things for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Those, a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to buy a business or buy a franchise and it's, ready made and, off the shelf. And you're right. I mean, long days, my first year and a half, I don't feel like I whatever was not working. It was like, if I was awake, I felt like I was working. And that was there were some lessons learned. I was actually just talking to some folks earlier today about a client of mine who we looked at some things, and he had an offer, a very healthy, 8-figure offer for his business on the table, and we were analyzed to decide if it was worth it. And one of the people talking says, "I'll take that." I said, "It's not like that doesn't come out of thin air." I said, "That guy worked his butt off
Right.
25 years earlier. I knew him back then, and I knew what he was going through. I know the challenges he was facing building this business, similar business to yours, slightly different, but he built it up to a point where it was massive, and he got a big payday in his 60s and decided to go retire. And good for him, but it wasn't like this magic gift that showed up. It was years and years of painful work early on and building the team around him, and then enjoying the fruits of that labor, and then going, okay, I've done it. I've done enough. It's time to enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously risk involved with any venture you go into, and I probably undersold myself on the stress and pressure early on of what it was
Mhm.
going to take to get this off the ground. But it's like you're at the blackjack table. You take all your chips and you push them in, and I
Yeah.
mean that's kind of what this was. I mean, I bet on myself versus betting on anything else, and
Yeah.
so that
Yeah.
that was the main thing. I knew if I just kind of stuck to the plan, that ultimately I felt very confident it would work out. But there's a lot of lean years in the first
Yeah.
first few years of this of any operation, I'm sure, but
Oh, yeah.
it's worth it in the end.
Yeah. I was the same way. We often, my wife and I would talk about, I was all in. I like that, invest on myself. And then, 18 months in, COVID hit, and, we were sitting there going, gosh, is this, what do we do now? And we're like, we just have to make this work. It's,
Yeah, and
you
COVID,
know,
I mean, I was very fortunate. I mean, really
yeah,
when
you're
COVID
in an
hit,
industry that COVID probably just, I bet you just grew like crazy during COVID.
yeah, it really, again, right place, right time, right? I mean, you
Yeah.
never want to go through something like that, but being in this industry, it really opened the eyes, I think, of many facilities on how important cleaning, disinfecting
Yeah.
was. So that really, our industry was probably one of two or three that, I mean, they were essential, and it was nonstop for, a couple of years there with a lot of disinfecting. So it really was a boon for us, and probably many other, companies that have cleaning or janitorial in their umbrella. So
Mhm.
it really helped us.
Yeah. Yeah. You hit you had the one of a handful of industries that did awesome during that. And kudos for you. Good. Sometimes it's
And it's just
good
dumb
planning, and
luck, right? You're
sometimes it's
just
good
in an
luck,
industry that, yeah, again, dumb luck. You're in an industry that, again, there happens to be chaos, and sometimes chaos, works out in the end for
Yeah.
certain industries.
Yeah. So you talked about you got a big team around you. I think you said 40 or 50 people or something on your team. Uh, what did you imagine when you started? Did you imagine it getting to that kind of point? Is this grown bigger than you ever imagined? Tell us a little bit about kind of how
The
that has
growth,
worked out.
yeah, no, it's definitely bigger than I imagined it would be. I mean, you see this bat behind me, this Louisville Slugger bat. So
Yeah.
they asked us 15 years ago, where do you think you'll be in 2025 in terms of revenue? And again, I way undersold what I thought we could ever become. I thought, if we get to 20, 25 employees, that's probably going to be the top end of this. But the way the business model is set up with all the different services that we provide, and the recurring revenue model, it really just magnifies over time, the revenue multiples that you can produce, as you do a good job. I mean, we get paid to keep people's headaches off their plate. So if we
Hmm.
do a great job at that, we're going to keep the business. And so again, this slugger bat, I looked at the number the other day, and we we basically have doubled where I thought we would be. So I
Yeah.
had to
That's
make
all.
this prediction until
That's awesome.
2015, and in 10 years, we're actually double what I thought we would be. So it continues to surprise me. We have a great team in place who, great customer service, fanatical customer service is one of our cornerstones. We have a list of core values out there on the wall, and that's one of them. And so, if we do the right thing, if we take care of our customers, then we plan on being around for a long time. And knock on wood, so far so good.
Yeah. Yeah. That bat story is awesome. You need to do a new bat and put your like 2035 number on it. And
Yeah, you're right. You're right about that, because I would be curious how far I'd be off, and hopefully I would really undersell it again.
yeah,
Ideally.
well, that's good. Actually, I mean, that's good business practice. I mean, set a goal, but set it we always talk smart goals, all that kind of stuff. And, one of those is attainable, right? It's got to be something that's, realistic. You don't want it to be a stretch goal, but a little bit, but, and it probably seemed like a tremendous stretch back then. Am I right?
It did. That's what I say. I mean, I had no idea, what this could really develop into, this business model, and it continues to surprise me every day. Really, some of the things that we can get into, some of the things that we can help customers solve, help them save their time. I mean, they want to do what they want to, their real job, their quote unquote real job.
You're right.
They don't want to manage the cleaning and handle all that, all the complaints that you may get from those. And that's what we take off their plate. So
Right.
once they see we can do one or two things, they're like, hey, can you do this? Well, as a matter of fact, we can. So I mean, it really is very satisfying to watch how much we can partner with, folks who are in the operations business who have to maintain the facility, because I tell them all the time, that's job security, because there is always something going wrong with the facility.
Yeah.
They have to maintain it. If they're going to keep, high employee and visitor satisfaction, that as they come into their building, I mean, you just expect the building to be clean and look nice.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was in a leadership meeting at church last night, and we were going through the list of things with the facility that that
Yeah.
needs to be addressed, and the list just gets longer by every month.
Right.
That's
It
one thing about
does.
facilities, that the stuff breaks, it wears out and it breaks, and you have to eventually deal with it. Well, one thing I love about your business model that I don't see every day is the clarity of it. There's just real clarity around what you do, what you don't do. I mean, I'm sure people probably come to you every now and then and say, "Hey, would you do, this?" And you're like, "No, no, that's outside our wheelhouse." But I love how you said, "What'd you say, from the curb to the, uh,
Roof to curb. Yes.
yeah." That's just, there's clarity around that that makes it easy to define for clients, easy to market, and certainly is something that makes it. I believe clarity just drives profitability when we have that.
Yeah. It's a very, when you sit back and think about it, it's a simple business model, but it's one that's necessary. Again, dirt's not going anywhere. You know, businesses aren't going anywhere. So you need to maintain your facility if you want to keep good people, right? I mean, it gets
Yeah.
back to, employee satisfaction. People want to go and work in a nice, comfortable, clean place. And again, like you said, things age, things break, but it's a very simple business in terms of what we do. I mean, again, solve problems, save time. Anything related to a commercial facility where a service is needed, whether it's clean or uh, fixing a hole in the wall, painting, whatever the case is, those are just simple things that we can handle and take off, say a VP of ops or a facility manager's plate. It's very satisfying. I keep going back to that, but it's really neat to kind of partner with them and not have them stress about it. We take the stress off their plate.
Hmm. Yeah. Excellent. So, you've had 14 years, great growth, doubled your initial plans. Tell us about the next 10 years. What do you see happening?
The next 10 years, I mean, there are industries that, we still want to get into quite heavily. We're in, again, I think I mentioned it, whether it's manufacturing, medical, office buildings, there's not a commercial facility that really we're not in. But we need to expand, especially in Louisville. Every city kind of has their pet industries that really drive. Like for us, it's medical, it's
Yeah.
logistics with the bourbon industry with UPS here. So really, our next 10 years of growth really probably are going to be focused more around certain industries that are growing quite well.
Hmm.
Um, and those are two that are at least here in Louisville. Uh, that are really growing, and we want to take part in that. But I mean, I think our name recognition is not out there. Even though I've been here
Yeah.
14 years or almost 14 years, I still feel like we don't have the name recognition, that we probably should. So I think we've been kind of flying under the radar. So I think
Yeah.
the next 10 years is going to be, and we started to do some marketing to get our name out there. We've sponsored the Louisville Bats. We've done some things with them.
Hmm.
So we're doing more to try to drive our name out there. Because I think once people see it, once they talk to our references, they're going to see these guys are legit. I mean, we
Yeah.
we do what we say we're going to do, and so I think that's kind of the next 10 years too is become more of a name brand here in town.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd agree with you. I've been, especially in the small, medium business community for 8 years now. And I think ran across you about 2 months ago. And
Yeah,
but since then I've seen, and I don't know how much of that is that, that idea that, once you start to see something, then you recognize it more and more. And I've seen you several places since then. Um,
right.
but, but before that, I wasn't aware of you all, but
Yeah, and again,
it's,
kudos to the team. I don't take credit for it. I mean, we to be able to do what we've done in the first 13 years, really without any marketing, name recognition, really to speak of. It's a credit to them. And so now
yeah.
that we're starting to build some of that credibility and brand recognition, I see super positive things coming in the next
Mhm.
10 years.
Yeah. It's awesome. So, I always just like to wrap up with a question around kind of that advice. I mean, you're a successful businessman. You've been doing this now for 14 years. You did like I did, where you left a corporate gig. You left a paycheck and and pushed those chips in the middle of the table. Um, there's a lot of people that dream of that. A lot of them don't have the courage to do it. some are there, they got their hands on their chips and they're just trying to, get that ounce of courage to
Right. Should
do.
I push in or should I stay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll fold, maybe I'll check,
Right.
but it takes something to push that in. What advice do you have to that person that's, say, 15 years, your junior, that's thinking of doing something? What is the trigger that says, yeah, push them in?
Well, for me, I mean, if you're willing to take the risk, I mean, nothing's going to be worth having unless you risk it.
Mm.
Uh, have buddies that kind of run different businesses and have since started their own businesses. And I've kind of had this conversation with them, and you're not going to, I mean, it's going to be a lot of work. I
Yeah.
would tell you that. I mean, don't think, you're just going to, it's going to be turnkey and you're going to be making all this money day one. Have the capital, have enough capital. I probably undervalued, the amount of capital you need when you start something, because there's
Yeah.
going to be dark days. So you're going to need probably a little more capital than you realize. But at the end of the day, you're going to have to take a risk and take a leap of faith. I mean, that's what it is. Like I said before, I kind of bet on myself. I know I'm going to work hard. So if you have that belief in yourself and you have the capital, take the risk. I mean, the rewards will be worth it down the road, but it's kind of that delayed gratification, which I think goes against today's day and age. Everybody wants
Yeah.
things now.
Right.
Everybody can order off their phone, get DoorDash, and they can do DraftKings and bet on their phone.
There's no
And so,
swipe left, swipe right.
yeah,
There's none of
yeah.
that.
So again, anything worth having is going to take time to build, and so that would be my advice. Have the
Yeah.
money, take the risk, as long as you're in it. I mean, if you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, that's probably not going to work. So
Yeah.
you got to go both feet in, put your time and sweat into it, and it'll be worth it in the end.
Yeah. But I give that same advice, and I appreciate that. I often use the metaphor of being a pilot, a jet pilot. You got to have enough fuel. That's the capital. You got to have enough runway. That's the time. You got to have both of those things before you accelerate and take your foot off the brake and go.
Yeah, and find an industry that you enjoy. Like I said,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
now this industry, I wanted to get away from medical. This is totally opposite of that.
Yeah.
But the business model itself is still, it's sales and management. It just happens to be in a different industry. But I like simple industries. Everybody
Yes.
knows what cleaning is. Everybody knows, we're very simple, but we're not sexy. And I personally like that kind of business, just because it's not something that's thought of every day, but it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, which I had no
Absolutely.
idea before I started it. So anyway, find something that you think you're going to enjoy for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great advice. I always say it's you got to have that passion, but there's also got to be a market for it. And you've got something here that you successfully matched up both of those pretty well. So that's good.
Yeah.
Well,
I feel like
Doug, congratulations on your success. Look forward to seeing Citywide grow here in the area, and hope we can reconnect in some other ways. If someone's out there, facility manager or something, and wants to know more about you, how do they find you?
Our website is gocitywide.com/Louisville. We handle basically everything with about a 50-60 mile radius of Louisville, so with hour or so. But check out the website. Our number, we're local. We're all local folks. I don't want someone to say, "Oh, they're a franchise." They're based in Kansas City. We're all local. Like I said, I'm a local guy. Everyone here is local, so I can't stress that enough. I think there's a misperception that because you're a franchise, you're not a local guy. But check out our website. It's a very robust site that it really lays out some of the details and services we provide. And again, no obligation. If you're not happy with a certain vendor, give us a call. We'll come out. We're not charging you to come out and do a survey. So check us out. We're happy to talk to anyone and meet with anyone to talk a little bit more about what we do and kind of our core values and how we run things.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you for coming on the show. I wish you best of success.
Thank you, John, for the time.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you liked it, please share or like it on whatever platform you use. You can find me on social media. On most platforms, I'm John K. Jennings. My first book is also available. Your Baby is Ugly tells you about 10 truths that business owners need to hear, but often won't, and how to overcome them. You can find it on Amazon, Just search for Your Baby is Ugly. And be watching for our next episode where I'll interview another business owner who will share their stories and insights into what it's like to create a great business.